Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Packers Select Podcast, your official source for Packers draft content as well as overall in-season coverage. We're going to try and get you learned up pretty good in 15 minutes or less so you can go on, get about your day, get your pack on, and live your life. So today's episode, we're going to be discussing Packers Family Night, everything that happened there, the good, the bad, the ugly, the injuries, the prosperity, all that stuff. So right now, we're going to go into a few things that I noticed, starting off with the rookies. Valdes-Scantling, man, that wide receiver that we selected out of USF, Packers Family Night, he had a lot of good. He also had a few bad. Good, he popped more than on a handful of catches. He ran a lot more routes than I anticipated. Again, some things that I've been echoing throughout OTAs and training camp coverage. He had a lot of slants. He had a lot of ends. He had some some comebacks. He had a lot. He also had a few bad, some concentration drops. He also had a really bad one to end the Packers Family Night. I want to say it was on the move the ball drill. I think that's what they called it. Either way, it was a Hail Mary-esque type thing. Rodgers did the typical thing, let the D-ends come in, the tackles let him go. He rolled out to his left, threw it towards the center of the field. Valdes-Scantling, it's just fun to say his whole name, was in the middle of the end zone, found a nice little pocket, jumped up, went up, high pointed the ball and dropped it. He was very dissatisfied with himself as the cameras cut off and they went to whatever Roseanne or whatever show, probably not Roseanne because it's discontinued, that's on syndication, that went right after that. So that was unfortunate. But aside from that, he played extremely fast. Jamon Moore, again, good, had a nice couple of catches that were highlighted by a beautiful red zone fade from Hundley on Josh Hawkins, where he really just went up, high pointing the ball, boxed out Hawkins to his left, and then contorted his body a la a basketball player, and really went up, grabbed the ball to his right to where Hawkins had no chance of getting it, had the body control, brought it down, touchdown, a really beautiful catch. Again, he had a few drops on some comebacks, but I know coming out of college, concentration drops were a big red flag with him. Fantastic route runner. He has fantastic hands. At times he can kind of be lulled to sleep and not finish the play. ESQ, Equineme Sam Brown, another fun full name to say, played overall pretty well. He caught the ball consistently, looked really fast for his size, did a lot of little routes that I didn't anticipate a big man of his size doing, but he overall had the most consistent practice. I think MVS, I'm just going to say that just because it's a little bit shorter, and Jamon had bigger big plays. But ESQ had a lot of just consistent dink, dunk, 10 yards, 12 yards, 5 yards, 3 yards, and he caught everything coming his way, which is beautiful. Moving on to the DBs, I think the DBs looked good. Each had pass breakups, and I think that not hearing from them or not paying attention too closely to them was good thing. If you're a D line or if you're a DB, an O lineman, if your name is not in the tabloids, that is a very good thing. Unless you're like whoever, Deion Sanders type stuff. Last but not least, my MVP of the night, and I know it's hard to tell if it's truly this is what he's going to be, because it is a glorified scrimmage. But Oren Burks, man, that guy was flying. He looked great. He didn't handle too much of traffic work, which is where I want to see him, because that's where I know he's going to initially struggle, just given his size, and he's going to have to add more bulk and see how that kind of goes along with his playing speed. But, man, he looked fast. He was flying. He was going left to right, taking all the right angles, knifing through, and he just looked awesome. So it's a good step forward and filling in for Jake Ryan. I know Jake Ryan was much more of a run support specialist, again, finishing second behind Luke Kuechly and a lot of stats when it came to that. But, man, Oren Burks is something to be excited about pairing next to Martinez. So if we can work out and figure out both of that to where you have two amazing off the ball or off the line chase backers, that's awesome, man. And I'm sure he's going to thrive in coverage as well, just being a former safety. So now we're going to move from rookies to the pros, things that I noticed with some of the veterans. Devontae Adams looked fantastic. He absolutely roasted Kevin King on a one-to-one or on a one-on-one drill. I mean, this is Devontae. Separation at any level of the route tree is going to be his specialty, and that's not a knock on Kevin King. Again, I think that he might have just been trying something different, but Kevin King as well looked fantastic throughout that. Everyone gets beat. Devontae got beat, plenty of times. So Kevin King looked great as well. He looks super fluid, and his play speed actually is extremely noticeably faster. I know one of his knocks coming out that Mayock said when he was a rookie. after he got drafted was, his play speed didn't match his combine speed. And I digress a little bit, but I think that I can see where he was coming from. But right now, man, he looks like that 4.4 runner at 6'3", above 200 plus, and he's healthy, which is awesome. I know that we'll get to a little bit of that later, but I think Kevin King looked fantastic. Mo Adams. I can't ever remember Montavious. He looked like an absolute monster, which showed why he was picked in the third round out of Auburn last year. I know that his knocks coming out of college again were that sometimes he would take a few plays off. And as a big man, I understand the coach's hesitancy to interact with that. I get it. I don't want a quitter. I wouldn't want a quitter on my team either. And he's not a quitter. But as a big man, it's like you only have so much cardio, and if you're in there primarily a lot of downs, you're gonna have to, as Tion would say, make some business decisions on some plays and go, all right, let me conserve my gas tank. That being said, I don't condone it at all. But he did not. His last year at Auburn and this year, now that he's healthy, doesn't look like he's doing any of that, man. It's like he is just coming out like a fire plug. I'm really excited to see his development this year. His first step is insane, and it was just not like a hair quicker than the O-line and all the other D-linemen around him. It was like a whole toupee quicker than everybody else's, and it's really awesome to see him. He had a really good push-pull rip move that he's developed, and that first step where you can explode to him, get him off balance, grab him like he did, and then just rip him forward and then jolt by him in a gap. He did that so many times. So I'm really excited to see him kind of, just prosper and really cultivate that skill set that he's proven he has now that he's healthy. Going along to the offensive side of the ball, Jimmy Graham, he had a catch. He looked like Jimmy Graham. He looked like a really tall phone pole running down the field that's extremely fast. I'm really excited to see him constantly keep developing with Rodgers because they look so dynamic together, and it's going to be awesome having that middle of the field threat. Whether he's running a post or whether he's out, he's flanked way out on the boundary as a wide receiver in the slot. No matter what, I think he's going to thrive. I think him and Rodgers are not only on the same page, they're writing like the second novel together. Lastly, all of the backup QBs, I think they shined, man. I honestly think they shined, namely Hundley and Boyle. Kaiser looked great as well. Just the other two were more consistent. I think Hundley obviously had the jump ball, the fade route to Jamon Moore. Boyle just looked consistent, man. He constantly stepped up, which is weird because his touchdown to interception ratio in college was not great. But right now he's amongst the backup quarterbacks, one of the more consistent ones at finding his reads, whether it's only a 2-yard chunk or a 10-yard chunk. And he's just really good at that. So I was really surprised with that and really happy to see the development and all the backup quarterbacks. That's going to be a really fun one to watch. That concludes my family night portion of this episode. So we got you in at 8 minutes and 20 seconds right now. So thank you for watching Packers Select. Again, we are at Packers Select on Instagram, at Twitter, whatever you want. And we are at www.packerselect.com. Also on YouTube, find us at Packers Select. We have our podcast. We have our draft analysis from the prospects before last year's draft to my reaction to when we picked them, as well as we're going to start implementing more prospects in the 2019 NFL draft that are related to the Packers. So thanks everybody for listening. Peace.